Hello and welcome to the first ever 30th episode of Whoniverse. You're here with me, Lewis.
Me, Brian.
Dum dum
Dum
dum
dum
dum
dum
dum
dum
dum
dum
dum I think that's getting worse, honestly.
It's not getting any better, is it?
Right, so just a quick update here at Whoniverse show. Here we go. So before we get into things, we just like to announce that we are now moving to Wednesdays as the airing date of the show, due to a little bit of complication in terms of mine, Brian, and Jamie's schedules conflicting, because I no longer work in the same department as them. Right, so moving on swiftly then, we go to voting in the TARDIS. And the question was, how would we like Doctor Who? How would we like Doctor Who to tell its stories? That's kind of a weirdly, a weirdly
Weird
put
phrasing,
question. Yeah. How would we like Doctor Who to tell its stories? And we had, obviously, as per usual, 4 answers. 1 long season story, a standalone episode, classic 4-parters. Okay, we had 3.
Just 3 options.
So just 3 options.
I noticed you
well, I flopped. What can I say? In terms of this, there was quite a lot of love for the classic 4-parters.
Yeah.
Brian, I didn't expect to see that much.
No,
a whole 20% of viewers voted for classic 4-parters, and the problem with classic 4-parters, though, I would see, is that you have to wait 4 weeks to see a full hour episode, unless you're going to do the 4-parters in an hour viewing per time. How would you get around that? Would you have them down
You
as
just wait. You watch it week in, week out.
I couldn't wait for 25 minutes of an episode,
Well, wait till it's all on the iPlayer and watch it all in binge watch.
That's me. I love to binge.
This is the whatever that thing's called. Netflix. This is a Netflix generation.
Brian,
I used to have to wait a whole week between Doctor Who's.
Brian, there showing his age. What that thing's called? Netflix. Yes, Netflix. Brian, yes. Netflix has been a thing for a while now.
So you'll be telling me you don't have to dial up for broadband next.
You certainly don't, Brian. You certainly don't. And you don't have to wait a year for a movie to download. So standalone episodes, 31% of you agreed with standalone episodes, which is fair. Some of the better storylines have been portrayed in a standalone episode. Yeah. However, not my cup of tea, really. I like a good story arc. I like a lot happening and over a long period of time. What would you say about the standalone episodes, Bri?
I'm not objected to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of the sort of ones that are just standalone.
Yeah.
In New Who work really well.
Well, I watched Nightmare in Silver last night, and that was an excellent standalone episode. Brilliant storytelling, amazing plot line. Loved the use of Warwick Davis in there, as the Emperor. Loved the storyline that the Cybermen had been destroyed through the death of a galaxy, and the Emperor had to push the button, and then coming back to it, the Emperor, he's sort of in disguise as well, the Emperor, and then the absolute rack of guilt that he feels from destroying that galaxy, because through destroying that galaxy, he's saved effectively the rest of humanity, humanity spread out amongst the stars. However, he didn't really do a good enough job because the Cybermen get him back. Yeah. Okay, so and the winner this week was One Long Season with 49%. So it did take a decent chunk of the vote there, One Long Season story being a story arc. I mean, I don't need all of the episodes in a season to be part of the story arc. I just want, you know, like a bit more of a story to get my teeth into. So when it comes to that episode, the crescendo episode of the season, such as the Pandorica opens, then you know there's that payoff there at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I do enjoy that. Right, so what would you say about the long season? You'd be happy with a?
I'd be happy enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have to be a story arc, does it? Because it wasn't for Jodie Whittaker's first season.
No,
really.
there
wasn't. There was a revisited Tim Shaw.
I think we were.
It wasn't really. There were elements that.
I think we were mostly standalone episodes in Jodie Whittaker's, and a lot of people didn't like that. You know, a lot of people. You see a lot of comments online about it, but you know, there's not many episodes of. I don't think there's even one I'd say would be a truly horrible episode of Jodie Whittaker's season. You know, each episode has its own merits.
Yeah.
And we had phenomenal episodes like Rosa, which was, you know, a bit too PC, but you know, that's the way it's going. But you had the Pating episode. You had Kablam, which was a phenomenal episode. Loved Kablam.
There were no stinkers, really.
No, not really. I can't think of one anyway. Maybe. Well, if you send us an email in, if you can think of a stinker that came up in.
All solid 7 out of 10s. There were no brilliant episodes, but there were no poor episodes.
So I think. Tennant's and Smith's eras were both you know, quite connected.
Yeah.
Not the eras themselves, but you know, within the era there was connected storylines. Tennant's less so. Smith's was like one big story arc.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and it even brushed back to the Pandorica up, and just because in the end of, you know, Trenzalore in the Town Called Christmas, he mentions that the cracks in the wall come from the when the TARDIS exploded. You know, that's what cracked time. So it's even included in seasons after the Pandorica is done with.
Yeah.
So just a quick one on the Matt Smith era here. You know, Jamie's been mentioning Valiard. I don't know whether I sent that to you, because I watched recently. I watched the episode where the Doctor's grave was on Trenzalore. I don't remember the Great Intelligence. I can't remember the name of the episode. The Great Intelligence was there and had trapped them at the Doctor's grave, and he jumps into the Doctor's timeline, and Clara follows.
Yes, it was the one where the War Doctor was revealed right at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to say Time of the Doctor, but I don't think I'm right.
Day of the Doctor. No, Day of the Doctor is the ones afterwards. So Day of the Doctor is it the Night of the Doctor? I think.
No, that was the short episode with.
It was. So there was Day of the Doctor, Time of the Doctor, and the one before Day of the Doctor. That's the episode I'm talking about. Anyway, in this, the Great Intelligence says, before the end, you will have many names.
The name of the Doctor.
You will have,
Just looked it up.
Oh, was it? Before this ends, you will have many names. He says something like the Beast, the Destroyer. The Valiard, and this to me fed legitimacy to Jamie's little ploy that he's been speaking about in previous episodes. The Doctor, the Valiard, by what the Great Intelligence is saying, are one and the same. You know, what would you think about that?
I've been looking into this because I've just started.
I've also done a little bit of research.
Yeah, I've just started watching Trial of a Time Lord, because that's spoiler alert to all our listeners, but.
Spoiler alert.
That's because we've got a bit of time to do history lesson with Jamie being away.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks at least, and then me being away.
Yeah.
We're going to do Child of Tamar, which was a story told over an entire
season. Yeah.
And the Valiard is a central character in that.
Yeah.
Looking at the write-up, he's supposed to be a incarnation of the Doctor between his 12th and 13th.
Well, this is
incarnations.
This is something that I've read, but there are many. It seems there's quite a few story flakes for the Valiad. Like it flakes off in different directions.
Yes, he appears in a lot of audio dramas.
Yeah, and in some of them he's not the Doctor, or it doesn't seem like he's the Doctor.
No.
You know, from what I've read, it's very weird, very timey-wimey. But we'll find out if they do decide to go with the Valiad, which, let's face it, they've already sort of queued it up in that episode, The Time of the Doctor. They've already queued that up. If they do decide to go with the Valiad, then I wonder in what sense they'll be going with him, because there's quite a bit in terms of like the character presets that they could go with. I mean, are they going to go with he is one of the Doctor's reincarnations that sort of broke off? Or
he's had sort of dummy reincarnations before, hasn't he? Because there was a whole
War
Doctor,
Doctor,
Stolen Earth, and whatever they thought Stolen Earth was, Journey's End.
Yeah.
There was the Meta Doctor. What was he called?
Oh,
Doctor,
the one.
Created and then went to live with
Rose in the other alternate reality. Yeah.
So certainly it's something that's happened before, and
yeah,
I
definitely.
would object to. From what I've seen so far of the Child of the Time Lord, he's a very good character.
So it seems that he's sort of the conflicting interest of the Doctor's good nature with the Doctor's worst aspects, like the aspects of the Doctor that seem to come out when he's alone. When he's not with anybody else. When he's not travelling with a companion. So. What if as the storyline may propose that the Doctor's messing around to try and figure out something about regeneration and accidentally flicks this regeneration off to create the Valiad, but
trying to create extra regenerations, because between 12th and 13th, that's 13th was supposed to be his last life.
And
of course we've had reasons why that is no longer the case.
Yeah, so I mean, has that messed the storyline with the Valiad up a little bit? Could it be that they're going to rewrite that part of it for New Who, because
Doctor Who's never been afraid to conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
And stories.
It could just be written into this to the storyline that was an alternate version of reality, or an alternate timeline that never happened, in this version of Who, except the Valiad always had to be expressed in some way, so this is just the Valiad expressing itself, like in New Who. So as per usual, we've had a few tweets from you guys out there in the Whoniverse fan base. Now, the first one is from pfriend82. And I'm going to have Brian read this, and let's go for a Scottish accent, please, Brian.
Oh, the old Scottish accent.
Aye. Do like an angry Scotsman as well, please.
There's no other sort of Scotsman.
A Glaswegian angry Scotsman.
Angry, aye.
Angry.
Well, I do like the ongoing.
That's not angry enough for me, please, Brian. Let's get a bit. Well, I do
like an ongoing season-long story arc. The old days of 3 to 4 parters are better, in my opinion. Gave time to build characters and a sense of peril. No, in 40 minutes I sorted it out.
That was brilliant. That was excellent. Actually, your Scottish accent's good, man. So it's definitely better than your Texan accent.
Surname like Jordan. There's some Scottish in there somewhere.
There we go. So this next one is Biotic Warlock. That sounds good. Bit of biotic.
Yeah.
Warlock.
I'm thinking sort of Ian McKellen as Gandalf.
Yeah. In like a. I don't know. I'm thinking bionic.
You shall not pass.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Are you going to read it in Gandalf accent?
No idea what Gandalf sounds like, having never seen Lord of the Rings.
How have you never seen Lord of the Rings? You've got to explain this before we go any further. How have you never seen... Have you read the book, at least?
Right, I was made to read the book, or attempt to read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings as a small child.
Okay.
And I hated it.
You hated it? How can you... I have no words for you right now, Brian. I really don't. Honestly.
This is Whoniverse, not Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Galaxy.
I'll let it slide for the purpose of the podcast, you know, in the interest of us continuing in the podcast.
Can we edit that and I'll say I have watched it?
No, we can't.
Is it gone?
It's gone. The moment's passed, Brian. We're moving on, and this is one of those things that we'll dig you about later. You know. Okay.
I'll do my best imagining of.
Have you seen?
I've seen the episode of Extras where Ian McKellen was in it.
Yeah, it's mainly Ian McKellen, but sounding more regal than he usually does. That's what it is.
Yes.
So do all.
A hybrid of the latter two.
Brilliant.
Standalone two-parter stories is basically a more digestible version for New Who fans. It allows stories to be fleshed out and not restricted to 40 minutes, allowing for a feature-length story that isn't rushed or full of technobabble to save time.
Excellent. I liked it. It was rubbish, but I liked it anyway. It felt very almost victorious. Okay. Moving on. So this one, it looks like coordinates rather than a name, but it's at LJR 031982. Oh, that looks like a date of birth, really. 031982, 1982.
10 years after me.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is, let's see, LJR. Let's go with an American accent. I'll do this one. Let's see what American can I do. Hey man, I enjoy the season's long story showing their progress at Doctor Who and her companions navigate the clues. The lesser storylines to arrive at an ultimate conclusion. I didn't get that, probably because the way I was reading it.
That would have been better as Dutch.
That is... No.
Enjoyed the season long stories.
Long stories showing their progress as Doctor Who. Okay. Well, nice. Okay. So there's a bit of variance there, you know, like people are mainly drawn towards the story, you know, the decent, you know, story arcs. But yeah, I believe that Friend 82 made a good point about the old days of the 3-4-parters, you know, being better in some respects. You know, like waiting I think when you put a cut in something, you know, like for instance the Macra of Terror, when they cut the first episode at the end where they just see the Macra, they can use that for suspense, you know, like and it really does build suspense. When you see that first Macra, you're like Jesus, that's a Macra. It's gonna get him, and you know they did it a few times in that serial as well. You know, like and for instance, when the Daleks took Earth, what's that? Dalek invasion of Earth, was it? When the first episode ended, the first episode, and the Daleks coming out of the water, and you're like, oh son, that's a Dalek.
There was always, more often than not, a sense of peril at the end of each episode in Classic Who.
It leads to a good mini cliffhanger that can then be built on, you know, in the next episode. And I see, you know, like that could, you know, where if you're telling one story over the entire episode of an hour, and you're not really going to have, you know, chance for a decent cliffhanger. But you do get these two, you know, in Modern Who, you get these two-parters.
Yeah, I think there's been a 3-part as well, towards the end of Capaldi.
But I mean, have they really used that, you know, sort of cliffhanger ending?
Sense of peril.
Doom, yeah. The doom is here.
Sort of sitcom ending going, oh, we showed them Daleks.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay, so... Oh yeah, I forgot to read the hashtag Doctor Who, hashtag lifelong Doctor Who fan at the end of that LJR's era. Sorry, LJR.
Yeah.
So, moving onwards, and the topic of the Who cast.
Yeah.
Should we reboot Doctor Who?
Simple yes, no answers this time. So
yeah, just a yes or no.
Generally putting that up on the feed at some point.
I suppose in this, you know, because I know he's I know he sent us a question earlier on, and we were both like, well, why that question? Because what was the question again?
Should we cancel?
Should we cancel? And any Who fan, you know,
He's
like
no,
not
We've
at all.
Been there before.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like we want to see more Doctor Who. We want to see more crazy scenarios in which the Time Lord is, put to. Put into an insane, dangerous scenario, and almost and making it out by the scruff of his neck. So yeah, should we reboot Doctor Who? It's to you, the listeners. Just go to our Twitter feed, and it's just a simple yes or no question. I think. It's harder than that, though, isn't it? You know, like a yes or no. Are you happy with Doctor Who as is, or do you feel that it needs a makeover? Really, what would your answer to this question be, Brian?
I've not been overly happy with the stories. They've been okay, as I said before.
Yeah.
Solid 6, 7 out of 10 every week. It's not hit the giddy heights it did when it first returned with Eccleston, Smith, Tennant. There are a few poor Capaldi stories, I thought.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm happy with the direction it's taking.
I'd say I'm quite happy with it. You've got to think of what would a reboot mean. I mean, a reboot what as well? You know, like what are we talking about changing? Yeah, exactly. I mean, spin-off maybe. I could see some decent spin-offs coming to light, but like a reboot. Do we start again from the beginning? Yeah, it's right from day one, stealing the TARDIS. More in-depth reasoning behind why he took the TARDIS in the first place. But that could be added retrospectively.
Could be. He must have had adventures between leaving Gallifrey and An Unearthly Child.
Yeah, I mean that in itself could be a spin-off, like the Young Doctor or something like of that caliber. You could make a spin-off of that. But I mean, other than recreating right from the beginning, in which case you would have to delete the Whoniverse. They did try this. They tried this in Stargate, and it didn't go down with the fan base too well. They were talking about creating 3 movies that were based upon the original movies rather than the SG-1 Atlantis and Stargate universe, and the fans just screamed out for this not to happen, and I believe it fell through because there wasn't enough love for the idea, and then they created Stargate Origins, which was a small web. Anyway, we're not here to discuss Stargate, but I could foresee similar problems in Doctor Who as that. If they did do a reboot, as in right from the beginning, they would have to pretty much erase. How long are we now? 55 years, something like that. Decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Decent amount of time of Doctor Who, and start again from the beginning. And if you do that, then more of the same. How are you going to change him if you change him too much as well, if the Doctor's not similar to the way he was? And it just, is there a point to it really? Like we all know and love the Doctor regardless of which regeneration. Some are questionable, we know this,
some are...
Colin.
But I've told him to listen when I met him.
Sorry, Colin. But no, it's just that regeneration scene, because we haven't seen much Colin Baker yet. That regeneration scene has just scarred my mind for the
end
Doctor.
of Caves Under Army.
yeah, definitely.
Change, my dear,
and not a moment too soon. It's the expression as well. Like his face, everything. I don't know. He's got a very sort of stuck up Doctor face. Sorry, Colin.
I watched that at the time. Obviously, because I'm a lot older than you.
Well,
yeah, that's true. I thought, wow, this guy's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's going to be something new. Breathe fresh life into it. Yeah.
But that's getting off the subject a little bit. Topic.
Yeah.
Jamie's also asked, should the BBC sell Doctor Who to another network like CW?
Hell no.
or Disney.
No.
Have you seen the movie, Doctor Who the movie?
Yes.
This is what happens when Americans
terrible.
get involved with sci-fi.
Sorry,
with Doctor Who.
It's
I know
not.
we've got a lot of American listeners who enjoy their own homemade sci-fi.
It's not just the Americans, but it's a company like Disney. Disney would just destroy it. They really would. Like they try and make something similar to the original without any of the soul of it.
It's got a charm.
I mean,
Doctor Who.
how many Disney projects? How many things have Disney bought up recently? And you've thought to yourself, well, that's gone downhill after Disney.
Star Wars.
I mean, Star Wars. Star Wars was just.
I've only seen The Force Awakens.
I
quite enjoyed it.
I think I saw both of them. Did I see both of them? Yeah, no, it's terrible. Either way, what else have they got? They've got rights to some of the Marvel movies, and they're just making the same movie a million times over. That's what it is. Okay, so on from that. I don't think it's the Americans, because I think if it was in the American writers' hands, I believe the Americans could probably do something good and breathe a little bit of new life into Doctor Who. If we got the writers over here, and they could put some interesting ideas together. Let's not bash American sci-fi altogether, because there is some really good American sci-fi out there. Stargate,
spoilers,
Star Trek. Come on, guys. There's amazing American sci-fi out there. Right. Okay. So.
Should anything be retcon? I think we've touched on that, haven't
we?
Yeah,
I think we have.
We wouldn't want an entire reboot from day one.
No, I don't think so. Well, I wouldn't. If you feel anything different, if you have any comments to make on any of the questions that we bring up in the podcast, and this one seems like quite a heated, question. And me and Brian seem to agree on it, but does everybody? Email us in at.
The Whoniverse show at
gmail.com.
I think.
Oh, is it co.uk? He's not put it on
his email address.
Right.
He doesn't trust us with any technology.
He doesn't at all. This
all
isn't
I would
good.
say, my last sort of word on this subject is when the show was, or when they were endlessly talking about the movie version, when Paul McGann played the Doctor. Initial suggestions for the role of the Doctor. One was Michael Jackson.
Oh God.
David Hasselhoff.
Could you imagine if Jackson touched that?
Yeah, the show they wouldn't have remade the show.
No
hope for the.
Yeah. Do you know? The movie is probably the reason it got buried for so long afterwards as well. It just didn't. They thought that it would have such a. It probably generate
fell between two stools. It was all Americanized, but not Americanized enough for the US audience.
Yeah,
and it was too far away from the
original. Yeah, and the original. What everybody had grown up with for it to. Yeah, and a lot of classic Whovians don't even consider it as Doctor Who.
Now.
Yeah, but the thing is, at the time, it was. It was seen as maybe a regeneration of the show, and then it obviously didn't go as they planned. It didn't get the audience that it should have done.
There's a Bill Cosby as well was considered for the role again.
Oh, would he have touched it? Right, Bill Cosby. Yeah, okay. Either way, moving on. We've got the Nuvian Who's Network.
Yeah, still haven't got a theme tune.
No, after we got in trouble from
the BBC ITV for playing excerpts from News at 10.
Yeah, we decided not to go there because it just.
Huey Lewis and the News.
Huey Lewis and the News.
We could play a song by Huey Lewis and the News.
Okay, right. That's. I'm not doing that, Brian.
Right.
I like the name. I like the name. I'm sticking with it. And I'm sick of these. These attempts to change the name, Brian. I'm sick of it.
Wait till I do a solo podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. Bit of somber news. It's the only article we've got. As we are actually recording on a Monday today after recording the previous podcast on a Thursday. So
not a lot's happened.
Not a lot's happened since. Yeah. So we've got Terence Terrence Dick has died. Doctor Who writer dies at the age of 84. So he was responsible for some of the scripts between 1960, I believe, 8 and 74.
Correct,
It's here
yeah.
somewhere. Yep. Steve Cole led the tribute, tweeting, "I'm so sad that Doctor Who legend hashtag Terrence Dick has died. I know how many actors he's inspired. How many authors he's inspired, and how many millions he's entertained as the writer, script editor, producer, and I can't pronounce that word. There you go. Raconteur. Okay. I met him at library talks when I was 8. Edited his 8 and edited his final short story this year. Okay. There was a couple of other comments on it, but yeah, it looks like Doctor Who has lost one of its great writers.
Very sad, yes. Shame he didn't get involved with New Who, really.
Yeah.
I think he could have come up with the cracking stories. He also wrote a lot of the Target novelisations of classic Who.
Yeah. So he oversaw some some decent projects as well. You know, he oversaw the production of Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, and Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Which it's a decent CV, that. But yeah, he's best known for his work in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sympathy to his
family.
Friends and family.
Yep. Okay, so moving on, History.
Yeah. So Jamie's asked me to sort of look at the junking of Doctor Who episodes. So, as unbelievable as it is, the BBC didn't think to keep a lot of the early episodes.
Yeah.
Mainly due to lack of space. Film was very valuable, video was very valuable then, so rather than buy a
celluloid, wasn't it?
Yeah, rather than buy a new lot of video, then they would just record over.
Would that not lead to double exposure? Surely there's a chemical process to strip it before they re-record onto it.
I don't know enough about celluloid.
I don't either, but But yeah, the exposure of the film is it's first made when it's initially recorded. You would have to do something to the film to make it reusable.
Well, I think you'd still get diminishing quality.
You would, I think so, and maybe double exposure as well, which is
There was also the issue with Equity, the Actors Union, about repeat rights, which was a big ongoing thing during the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. So they didn't want to repeat because they'd have to pay the actors again or a diminished fee for...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, as a result of this, 97 from 253 episodes from the programme's 6 years are currently missing.
Really, that many?
So, yeah, it's good 40% now, I would say.
200 and how many?
253. From 97 from 253.
About 35, something like that.
It's not just Doctor Who, they did this too. A lot of other classic programmes. Dad's Army, Z-Cars, Steptoe and Son. ITV did it as well with the Avengers, which is drawn comparisons with Doctor Who in the past. Unusually though, a lot of the 97, or all it says here, the 97 episodes, survive in some form or the other. So audio. So, believe it or not, before video recorders became widely available, people would sit in front of the television with a tape recorder or a reel-to-reel recorder and record the audio of the programme.
Right, okay, that's...
usually ruined by someone's mum coming in and hoovering.
Yeah. But I can see how that would...
So this allowed a lot of the missing episodes to be recreated using what's called telesnaps.
That's why
stills from the show.
Yeah, that's why some of them that you see, that you hear, when you watch those ones that are missing, well, you hear them really. It's there's some of them have really poor sound quality.
Yeah.
And it's because they've been recorded in that manner.
It's a recording of a recording.
Yeah.
So that saved a lot of the episodes. That's how I watched the Mac of Terror.
Yeah.
The telesnaps and recording and occasional very, very brief clips.
Yeah, like photos from the filming on the day. Yeah, most of Hartnell's episodes have photos from the day. You know, like they were taking quite a few photos as well, but they did animate a few of Hartnell's in black and white a while ago now. So those are available if you do want to watch.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with Hartnell's, the further you get into it, the more I'm missing. So you can watch pretty much the first 4 serials, I believe, maybe the first 3, and then you start to get episodes missing. You might get an episode missing, and then one of them's there as well, which is infuriating in certain respects, because why didn't they save it all?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the episodes have turned up through various sources. Several episodes, the BBC thought they destroyed them and hadn't.
Yeah.
Or they transferred them onto another film recording, etc. There's a place called Villa's House, which is kind of a BBC archive.
Yeah.
And they found that they had a load.
Yeah.
they didn't know about just how.
But you gotta think how big a BBC archive would be, you know, because they've been recorded since what the
BBC's been going
100 years now. They've been recording nearly and then all the radio and everything. They've been recording even longer than that, you know, because radio was 1800s, you know. It was invented in the 1800s. So we've the amount they have, you know, it'd probably be easy to lose something in an archive.
We have a shed load of thanks to a guy called Ian Levine, who is a massive Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
He's a record producer. He's done all sorts, fingers in lots of pies. He basically went to Villa's House and said, I want to rummage. I will rummage. I will search
all day, every day.
Allow I don't want any credit for this. I will go and find everything.
Yeah, everything you have on Doctor Who. Yeah. Do you know how many you found?
I don't know, because I didn't.
Can you I'd be like a kid on Christmas, you know, like wouldn't you though? You're rummaging around the BBC archive for specifically Doctor Who episodes.
But he's basically looking at a load of unmarked.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? So he had to hold them up to the light and
see what was in them.
Can you imagine just seeing an episode and you see, let's say for instance Hartnell in one of his episodes there, and you're like,
the Reign of Terror.
You're going absolutely nuts. He
I'm the first person to see this in over 40 years, 50 years.
Can you imagine how nuts he must have gone? Brilliant. Yeah. What a guy.
I praise him. I mean, he was also the person partly responsible for Doctor in Distress, which we touched on many episodes back. If you remember Doctor in Distress, it was a charity single released when Doctor Who was on hiatus.
Ah, right, okay. I'm going to listen to it now, but meh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would recommend not listening to it. However, some more episodes were found at the National Film and TV Archive.
Mm-hmm.
But I found my most episodes have been recovered from overseas broadcasters.
Yeah. Well, recording. Oh, because like the Australians, they were meant to destroy them after one use, but they never did. They just threw them on a pile.
So mainly in, oddly enough, Canada and Nigeria.
Really?
Found the most missing episodes. Yeah. We've also had we touched on this briefly, the reconstructed episodes. So using telesnaps, like I mentioned, the soundtrack still exists. Done as audio stories. I've got Evil the Daleks in my car that I keep meaning to listen to, but don't
never
go on
do.
I haven't been on a 4.5 hour journey, so
you've just got to plan a 4.5 hour journey. If your missus asks you where you're going, I'm
out for a drive.
Yeah, no, well, not even that. You've just got to make something up. You know, like I have to pop down to Dover because I don't know. You've got to make something up.
Yeah. And more recently, we've seen a rise in the animated stories. They did it with Enemy of the World, I believe. That was a mixture of...
Enemy of the World, we've seen Enemy of the World, and it was actually the original, wasn't it?
I think so.
So they found it after they animated it. Yeah. That's a bit poor in my in my opinion, because the money's been pulled into it to do the animation, where it could have been pulled into something else. Then it's good that they found the original. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit like a double-edged knife there. You're like, well, it's brilliant that they found the original. It's good to see it in it how it was originally intended to be. But because it wasn't there for so long, they've done an animation whereby they could have pulled that money into another one.
Yeah. So they did the Macro Terrors animation, which I believe is the version Jamie watched.
I watched 3 of the episodes as the animation, and one of them as this weird 3D animation that was done before. But the weird 3D animation is like early Xbox, something like that. It's like quite blocky graphics. We're talking Halo, the original Halo. You won't know what I'm talking about.
No.
I'm sure the listenership might not know what I'm talking about as well, because if they're a bit younger, they might not have seen the style of graphics we used to have to put up with.
My experience of video games ends around about the Crash Bandicoot.
It's a bit better than James Bond GoldenEye.
I've played GoldenEye. Did you play
GoldenEye? Yeah. All right, so it's a bit better than GoldenEye graphics. Well, I say a bit better, a lot better, but it was all right. It just didn't have any expression in like the cartoon version, the new one that was done by the university. It captured expression, and that's something that with a small animating budget you're not going to get,
We also talked briefly last week, I believe, about there was a hope that BBC are going to reshoot some of these lost episodes. They've done it with Dad's Army.
Yeah.
Or UK Gold did it. So.
Like, get a stepping actor who looks like the
David Bradley would be a shoe-in for the first Doctor.
Definitely.
I'll throw
get it done before Bradley's done, because he's not a spring chicken, and he's a decent actor, and he kind of looks like him,
He does, yeah.
So if the BBC ever listen to this,
BBC,
get it done before
David Bradley up.
Yeah, exactly. Get it done before he cops it.
He's doing nothing now. Game of Thrones has finished.
Yep. Well, he's been doing nothing since season 4 of Game of Thrones when he got his throat slit. So. Spoilers. Sorry, guys. If you
just started watching Game of Thrones. Don't bother, it's dull.
Yeah, it dies off about season 4, and then that's it. Honestly. Well, anyway,
I got 2 episodes in, and I thought I can't be bothered with this.
Honestly, it's good to start with, but it just after season 4 it goes downhill, and that's it.
Yeah. So, have any of the listeners got any suggestions who could play the second Doctor? I'll throw that out there. If you want to email us with your suggestions or tweet in with your suggestions.
Yeah, if you've got any suggestions on that, and then
I'll have a think about what I can talk about next week when it comes to Classic Who.
Right, so moving on to... You are finished with your history?
Yes, I am, yes, thank you for asking.
Okay, so moving on to our email section, Gallifrey and Gabble. And we've got an email, and it's for you, Brian, from Elaine Barker. I believe she must have emailed us before, though Jamie controls our email account, and if he doesn't put it on the script, then we don't get to see those emails. So maybe you asked this question before and Brian just didn't answer you, or
Jamie didn't ask us.
Or Jamie didn't ask us.
Which I think is far more likely.
Apologies either way, Elaine. Right, so she says that she doesn't give where she's from, but yeah. Let me see.
I've just googled. It's actually Ellen Barker.
Oh, is it Ellen? Sorry, Ellen.
She's either an under-23 cyclist from the Isle of Man or senior vice president of Texas Instruments.
Yeehaw!
Now, I'll be very impressed if she's senior vice president of Texas Instruments. Because, yes, can we have some sponsorship if she is?
Please.
About $1 million an episode will do.
Yeah. That's not going to happen, Brian, but here we go. My question is for Brian. It was brought up a couple of weeks ago, but we never got an answer. Brian, what have you been doing? Brian, that wasn't her, that was me, by the way. Brian, how do you choose what episodes you watch in History? Why didn't you want the 25th anniversary for the 25th episode?
Good questions, Ellen. I choose the episodes to watch in history at random.
We know that.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why we didn't do the 25th anniversary for episode 25. Or, again, in my defence, it could have been one of the episodes I missed.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we do them at random and everything, and sometimes me and Jamie might chip in if we've seen something that we want to, maybe do. I know Macro was one of them, wasn't it? We all chipped in it. No, it was a fan suggestion.
Suggestion from Macro
was Macro, yeah. So if something like that comes up, equally, Alan, if you want to put forward a suggestion, we're happy to.
She said
25th anniversary,
which is called Silver Nemesis.
So are we going to do?
I do own it, so I can lend it to Jamie.
Brilliant. So
won't be straight away. It'll be a few weeks off.
Yeah, we're doing the Trial of Time Lord first, but yeah. Why not? We'll do that afterwards.
Yeah.
See, you don't even have to do your job anymore, Brian.
No.
You get everybody else to do it for you.
Any of the listeners want to suggest any other stories?
Well, that's it.
Let us know and we'll do it. It has to be from the classic era.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
I also have to own a copy of it so Jamie can watch it.
Yeah, I mean it's not that expensive to buy them, and like in the Computer Exchange and that other shop down there, they've got quite a lot of them. So I think for £3.50 we could pick up one. If you say, for instance, you hadn't got this anniversary 25th episode, then, but you do. Right, so Jamie's been really inefficient with the script this week, so he's not put anything else down.
Ways to contact us. You can contact me at B007 on Twitter.
And me at Elbrook14. It's 14, not 18, Jamie. Get it right.
Jamie's got an email address as well. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I think he's
Watson's Musings.
He's at Watson's Musings, but it's not an email address. It's a Twitter handle.
Yeah.
See, I know these things. It's a Twitter handle. Yeah,
I have got an email address, but I'm not giving it out.
Yeah, you're not getting out my email address either. Right. We believe the email is the Whoniverse show at gmail.com. We believe it's gmail.com, but that
Jamie will edit this before the show goes out. So
hopefully he does, but probably not.
You can throw in the correct email address.
So
Whoniverse Twitter feed as well.
Yeah, at the Whoniverse show, is it? No? I know we changed the handle recently, so this is the worst advertising we've ever done, by the way, people. So Brian,
thanks to Zit Farm as well.
Oh yeah, Zit Farm. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're swimming in zit juice as we speak. It's got to be a little bit sweet and crunchy, maybe.
It is Whoniverse show at Whoniverse show.
At Whoniverse show.
Yeah.
You've been listening to
us two.
Me and Brian, Lewis and Brian.
Yeah.
Have a week.